All right, so let's dive right into something that's been all over the news lately. AI and the future of work. It feels like there's so much hype and everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic, and for good reason.
Hmm.
Seems like every day there's a new headline about AI disrupting industries and changing how we work.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're going to break down a report that gets really specific about which jobs AI is likely to actually affect.
Right,
It's way more than, robots taking over the world.
right.
But we will talk about robot chefs and algorithms writing the news.
Oh, we'll definitely get into those more eye-catching examples. But first, let's kind of zoom out and look at the big picture. This report, it highlights that AI is particularly good at automating tasks that are repetitive and predictable.
Okay.
Kind of the work that doesn't require a lot of creativity, emotional intelligence, or, complex decision making.
So AI is basically taking over all the jobs that most people wouldn't want to be doing anyway.
That's one way to look at it. Think about it this way. When you're at the grocery store using the self-checkout,
Right.
you're already interacting with AI that's replacing, a cashier.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just one small example of how AI is already starting to reshape like all different industries.
Yeah, this brings us to the report's deep dive into specific industries,
Right.
which I thought was pretty fascinating how it breaks things down.
It is.
Okay.
Let's start with administrative and clerical jobs.
Okay.
One example the report highlights is data entry clerks.
Mm-hmm.
Their work is already being impacted by AI-powered systems called robotic process automation, or RPA for short.
RPA. Okay. I've heard that term thrown around, but I never really knew what it meant.
Yeah,
Can you explain that a little bit further?
of course. So RPA essentially uses software robots to automate these rule-based repetitive tasks.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Instead of a person manually entering data into a spreadsheet,
Right.
RPA can do it automatically, much faster and with less room for error. Companies like UiPath and Blue Prism are major players in this field.
So it's like having a virtual assistant, basically, to do all that, like, tedious data entry work.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What other administrative roles are being affected by AI?
Receptionists,
Okay.
they're another example. AI-powered virtual assistants and phone systems are increasingly handling tasks like, scheduling appointments and forwarding calls.
Right.
You've probably even encountered these systems yourself without even realizing you were talking to a bot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes they're so good, it's hard to tell. But, it makes me wonder if AI is taking over all these administrative tasks,
Yeah.
what happens to all the people who used to do those jobs?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
And it's one that we'll address a little bit later when we talk about the new opportunities that AI is also creating. But for now, let's continue exploring how AI is, changing the game in these different fields.
All right, so let's move on. What about customer service? It feels like every time I need help with something, I end up chatting with a bot.
You're not wrong. AI-powered customer service platforms are becoming like super common now. They can handle a lot of those routine inquiries like, tracking orders or answering basic questions.
Yeah.
And that reduces the need for these large call centers.
So those like frustrating hours spent on hold, waiting for a representative, those might become a thing of the past.
Potentially. Tools like Zendesk AI and Amazon Lex are being used by companies to provide like 24/7 support and often at lower costs than traditional call centers.
I can see the appeal from a business perspective,
Right.
but I do wonder about like the potential downsides.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. There are definitely concerns about the loss of, the human touch in those interactions. And we'll delve into that a little bit later. But AI's impact on customer service goes beyond like call centers.
Okay.
Help desk support is also being transformed with these automated troubleshooting systems
Right.
that can guide users through, problem resolution.
So instead of waiting on hold to talk to tech support, the AI kind of walks you through, fixing your Wi-Fi or whatever issue you might have.
Exactly. Companies like Freshdesk and ServiceNow are using this technology to, streamline their support processes.
Okay.
And even social media moderation is seeing AI's influence. algorithms are now being used to analyze comments, flag inappropriate content, and, respond to frequently asked questions.
Wow. So it seems like AI is like making its way into almost every aspect of customer service.
Mhm.
Okay. So we've looked at offices, customer service roles.
All right.
What about more like hands-on industries? Like,
Wow.
are robots really replacing factory workers like we see in the movies?
Well, it's not quite a Terminator scenario, but AI and robotics are definitely like changing the game in manufacturing and logistics. One example that the report focuses on is assembly line workers.
Mm-hmm.
Robots are already being used to, perform these repetitive tasks with greater precision and speed than humans.
Like those like car factories you see with the robotic arms like welding and assembling parts.
Exactly. Companies like Fanuc and QQK are major players in this space. And as factories adopt what they call Industry 4.0 practices, which basically means integrating more digital technologies and automation, we're seeing significant reductions in, the need for human labor on the factory floor.
So robots are building things like faster and more efficiently,
Mhm.
but what about like warehouse work?
Right.
All that packing and shipping, surely that still requires like human hands.
Well, even that landscape is changing with the introduction of AI.
Okay.
Think of Amazon Robotics, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Those orange robots you might have seen in videos are zipping around warehouses,
Right.
managing inventory, picking and packing orders with incredible efficiency.
I've seen those videos. They're pretty mesmerizing to watch.
Right.
But isn't there still a need for like human oversight? Especially for things like quality control, like surely a human eye is still needed to catch defects.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
AI-powered vision systems like those from Cognex can inspect products for defects, faster and more accurately than humans in many cases.
So robots are building things, packing things, even checking for quality.
Right.
It's pretty incredible how much AI is like changing the game in these industries.
Hmm.
Where does that leave humans in the future of these fields?
That's a really important question, and one we'll explore further as we go. However, it's not just manufacturing and logistics that are being impacted. So
Okay.
let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about retail,
All right, retail.
another industry being transformed by AI.
We already talked about like the self-checkout kiosks.
Mhm.
What other retail jobs are kind of at risk?
The report points to fast food workers
Okay.
as one example.
Yeah.
Robots like Flippy, which is actually being used by White Castle,
Mhm.
can flip burgers, cook fries, and even prepare drinks.
A robot chef. That's both fascinating and a little unnerving.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a game changer for like the fast food industry.
Absolutely. And those digital kiosks for ordering that you see like everywhere now, from McDonald's to Panera Bread,
Right.
those are also reducing the need for order takers.
Yeah.
AI is also playing a role in inventory management with systems that optimize stock levels and automate restocking, meaning fewer human inventory managers are needed.
So from the factory floor to the fast food counter, it seems like AI is taking on like more and more of these tasks that were once done by humans.
Mhm.
I'm starting to see like a pattern here. A lot of these jobs involve like repetitive tasks, things that can be, broken down into steps and programmed.
You're picking up on a key insight. The types of jobs that are most vulnerable to automation are those that can be easily like codified. Right. Now, let's move on to another industry that's experiencing pretty dramatic changes thanks to AI transportation.
All right, transportation. I know self-driving cars are a big topic, but how close are we to really seeing them on the roads?
Closer than you might think. Companies like Tesla, Waymo, and Aurora are all developing self-driving trucks that are capable of like long-haul transportation with very minimal human intervention.
So truck drivers could be out of a job in the near future.
It's a real possibility, yeah. And it's not just long-haul trucking that's being affected. Think about delivery drivers.
Fair.
Autonomous delivery robots and drones are already being used for last-mile delivery in some areas.
I've seen those like little robots rolling around on the sidewalks. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about, taxi and rideshare drivers.
Right.
Self-driving car technology is being developed by companies like Uber, Cruise, and yes, Tesla, again, could drastically reduce the need for human drivers in the future.
It sounds like the whole transportation industry is on the verge of like a major upheaval.
Yeah.
What about the world of finance? It seems like a field where AI could really Excel.
You're right. AI is incredibly good at analyzing vast amounts of data and performing tasks like fraud detection, accounting, and financial modeling.
Right.
So it's no surprise that many financial and analytical roles are being, impacted.
I can see how AI could like crunch numbers and spot patterns way faster than a human.
Absolutely. For example, software like QuickBooks and Xero are automating accounting tasks, which reduces the need for human accountants, especially in smaller businesses.
So those folks that help you with your taxes, they might be replaced by software.
It's a possibility, especially for more, routine tasks.
Okay.
And then there's stock trading. High-frequency trading algorithms, driven by machine learning, are already dominant in financial markets. They can execute trades far faster and with greater accuracy than human traders.
So Wall Street might become like a battle of the bots.
In some ways, it already is.
Okay.
And it's not just trading. Loan officers are seeing their roles impacted as well. AI systems like Upstart and Zest AI are using machine learning to analyze applicants' creditworthiness, which reduces the need for human judgment in the loan approval process.
I guess that makes sense. Data analysis is like key in finance, and AI is a data crunching machine.
Right.
What about insurance? Is that field being affected too?
Absolutely. AI can assess risks, determine premiums, and process claims much faster than humans, which means insurance underwriters are also seeing their roles evolve.
So we've covered offices, customer service, manufacturing, retail, transportation, and finance. It seems like no industry is immune to AI's impact.
Right.
What about creative fields? Writing, design, music, things like that.
Yeah.
Surely those require human ingenuity, right?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. AI is actually making inroads into content creation and editing as well.
Okay.
Generative AI tools, as they're called, are automating creative processes like writing, video editing, and design.
Wait, so AI can write articles now?
Yeah.
Like news articles?
Yes. Tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, and Quill are being used to generate articles, marketing copy, and even reports.
Hold on. So if I'm reading an article online, it might have been written by a robot.
It's possible, especially for routine news like sports scores or financial updates.
Right.
AI is handling a lot of that workload these days.
That's both fascinating and a little unsettling.
Yeah.
What about video editing?
Right.
Surely that takes a human eye for visuals and storytelling, right?
Well, there's still definitely a need for human creativity. Tools like Runway and Adobe AI are making video editing more efficient. They can automatically, remove backgrounds, detect scenes, and perform quick edits, which frees up human editors to focus on the more creative aspects of the process.
So AI is taking on some of the more technical aspects of video editing,
Yeah.
allowing the human editors to focus more on the storytelling.
That's one way to look at it. And it's not just video. AI is impacting graphic design as well.
Okay.
Platforms like Canva, DLE, and Figma are either assisting or automating, design processes, making it easier for people to create visuals without needing advanced design skills.
So from writing to video editing to graphic design, AI is making its presence known in the creative world.
Yeah.
What about language translation? That seems like a task perfectly suited for AI.
You're right. Real-time AI translators like DeepL and Google Translate are becoming incredibly sophisticated.
Yeah.
Reducing the demand for human translators, for common language pairs.
So those little translation apps on our phones, those are getting good enough to replace professional translators.
For some tasks, yes.
Yeah.
And the technology is only going to get better.
Okay.
Now, let's move on to another field that's often associated with human expertise.
Okay.
The legal profession.
Okay, so lawyers, judges, all that. How is AI affecting that world?
AI is actually streamlining many tasks in the legal industry, like document review, legal research, and contract analysis.
I can see how those tasks could be quite tedious and time consuming for humans.
Right.
So is AI replacing lawyers?
Not exactly. It's more about augmenting their capabilities.
Okay.
For example, tools like RSS Intelligence and Case Text can conduct legal research and summarize case laws much faster than humans.
So instead of spending hours poring over legal documents, lawyers can have AI do the heavy lifting.
Precisely. And it's not just research.
Right.
AI-powered e-discovery tools can analyze thousands of legal documents for, relevance during litigation,
Right.
which is a task that used to require like teams of paralegals and document review specialists.
So those like late nights spent sifting through mountains of paperwork, those could become a thing of the past.
Potentially, yeah. And then there's contract analysis.
Okay.
AI systems like LawGeeks can review contracts and suggest changes,
Yeah.
automating tasks that were once like incredibly manual.
Okay, so AI is making its mark in the legal world, but not necessarily replacing lawyers entirely.
Right.
What about healthcare? That's another field where like human expertise is so vital.
AI is playing an increasingly important role in healthcare,
Right.
both in terms of patient care and administration. However, while AI is enhancing patient care in many ways, some administrative roles are being, automated.
I can see how AI could like help with things like, scheduling appointments and managing medical records.
Exactly. Think about medical transcriptionists.
Okay.
Speech recognition software, like Dragon Medical, can transcribe doctor's notes directly into, electronic health records,
Oh, wow.
reducing the need for human transcription.
So no more doctors scribbling like illegible notes that someone has to like decipher later.
Hopefully not.
Right.
And then there's scheduling. Automated scheduling tools like ZocDoc and MyChart are streamlining appointment bookings and follow-ups. And of course, there's medical billing and coding. AI systems like Optum 360 are automating medical billing processes, which reduces the need for human coders.
So it seems like AI is having a significant impact on like healthcare administration, but hopefully not at the expense of patient care.
That's the goal,
Mm-hmm.
to use AI to, enhance human capabilities,
Right.
not replace them entirely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of industries here. Is there like any field that's truly safe from AI's influence?
It's hard to say for certain, but one area where AI is having a particularly interesting impact is in journalism and reporting.
Really? I thought journalism was all about like human storytelling,
Yeah.
digging for the truth, things that AI couldn't replicate.
It is, but AI-generated content is transforming journalism, especially for routine stories.
Okay.
Think about those financial reports, sports recaps, and weather summaries you see like online.
Yeah.
Many of those are now being generated by AI.
So those articles that like just summarize facts and figures, those could be written by bots.
Yes. Tools like the Associated Press's Wordsmith are already doing this. And it's not just writing. AI is impacting research as well.
Okay.
Tools like AlphaSense and FactSet can analyze, market trends and provide automated summaries, reducing the need for manual research.
So from writing to research, AI is making its presence felt in journalism. It's a lot to take in. I'm starting to feel a bit overwhelmed by all the ways AI is like changing the job landscape.
It's understandable to feel that way.
Yeah.
The pace of change can be, dizzying. But it's important to remember that AI is not just about, replacing jobs.
Right.
It's also creating new opportunities.
Okay, that's a good point. We've talked a lot about the jobs that are at risk, but what about the jobs that AI is creating?
That's a crucial part of this conversation, and it's what we'll explore in more detail in part 2 of this deep dive.
So we covered a lot of ground in part 1, exploring, how AI is impacting all these existing jobs.
Right.
But you mentioned that AI is also creating new opportunities.
That's right. While some jobs are, being automated, AI is also giving rise to like entirely new roles
Okay.
that didn't exist before.
So it's not all doom and gloom then.
Definitely not. Think of it this way. AI is a powerful tool, but it still needs, humans to build it, to manage it, to guide it.
Okay, I like where this is going. So what are some examples of these new jobs created by AI?
Well, one of the most obvious areas is, in AI itself.
Mhm.
We need people who can teach these systems how to learn and perform, specific tasks.
So we need like AI trainers essentially.
Exactly. AI trainers are responsible for, feeding AI systems with data, refining their algorithms so they can become more accurate and effective.
That sounds like a pretty specialized skill set. Is there a lot of demand for AI trainers?
The demand is growing rapidly as, more and more companies are integrating AI into their operations.
Right.
It's definitely a field with a lot of potential.
And what about the physical robots we were talking about earlier? Who's building and maintaining those?
That's where robotics technicians come in. They're the ones who, design, build, and maintain the robots that are becoming, increasingly prevalent in industries like manufacturing, logistics, and even, healthcare.
So it's like a whole new breed of like engineers specializing in robotics.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it's a field that requires, a blend of technical skills, problem-solving abilities, and a knack for working with, cutting-edge technology.
So we've got AI trainers and robotics technicians. Those are like pretty technical roles.
Yeah.
What about jobs that require a more, human touch?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
AI is, forcing us to rethink the value of uniquely human skills. The report really emphasizes this growing demand for roles that require what it calls human-centered skills.
Human-centered skills. What exactly does that mean?
It refers to those skills that AI, at least in its, current state, isn't very good at replicating. Things like creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, and the ability to, build and maintain relationships.
So like jobs that require empathy, understanding and the ability to connect with other humans on a deeper level.
Exactly. And these skills are becoming increasingly valuable in a world where, AI is automating so many like routine tasks.
This makes me think of fields like, therapy, social work, teaching. Surely those are like safe from automation, right?
Right. Those professions are, deeply rooted in human connection and require a level of emotional intelligence that AI just can't, replicate. But it goes beyond those like traditional fields as well.
Really? So human-centered skills are in demand even in industries that are like being heavily impacted by AI.
Absolutely. For example,
Mm.
in a future where AI handles a lot of the technical aspects of customer service, the ability to like empathize with customers and resolve complex issues will become even more important.
That makes sense. You'd still need like humans to handle those situations that require, personal touch or creative problem solving.
Exactly. And this applies to like many other fields as well, even in industries like finance or law, where AI can, automate a lot of the data analysis and research. There will still be a need for like human experts who can, interpret that information, apply critical thinking, and make, strategic decisions.
So it's not just about, learning how to code or operate robots. It's about cultivating those like uniquely human qualities that set us apart from AI.
That's the key takeaway. AI is changing the job landscape, but it's also creating, opportunities for those who can adapt and develop the skills that are in high demand.
This brings up another question. If you're, worried about AI taking your job, what are some like specific steps you can take to stay ahead of the curve?
That's a great question. And there are, a few key areas to focus on. First, data analysis is becoming like increasingly important across, all industries.
Data analysis, but I thought AI was supposed to be like good at that.
It is, but humans are still needed to, interpret the data, understand the context, and make decisions based on that analysis.
Right.
AI can, provide insights, but it takes human judgment to translate those insights into action.
So it's not enough to just like have the data. You need to know what it means and what to do with it.
Exactly. And that requires human skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and the ability to, communicate findings effectively.
Okay, data analysis makes sense. What else?
AI operation is another growing field.
Okay.
As businesses adopt, more AI systems, they need people who can like manage, maintain, and troubleshoot those systems.
So it's kind of like the IT support of the AI world.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
AI operators need to understand, how these systems work, identify potential issues, and ensure they're, functioning correctly.
Right.
It's a crucial role that's becoming increasingly important as AI, becomes more prevalent.
Okay, data analysis and AI operation makes sense. But what about those like more human-centered skills, like, creativity and problem solving? How do you develop those?
Those are skills that can be, honed through practice and experience.
Okay.
Seek out opportunities to like challenge yourself creatively, whether it's through, writing, art, music, or any other form of self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
The more you exercise those creative muscles, the stronger they become.
So nurture your inner artist.
Exactly. And for problem solving, look for opportunities to tackle complex challenges. Don't shy away from situations that require you to, think critically and find innovative solutions. The more you push yourself outside your comfort zone, the better you'll become at problem solving.
So basically embrace the unknown and don't be afraid to fail.
Exactly. Failure is often the best teacher.
Right.
It's through our mistakes that we learn and grow.
Now, what about those soft skills we talked about earlier, like communication and interpersonal skills? Are those still relevant in the age of AI?
They're more important than ever.
Oh.
In a world where, AI is handling more of the technical work, the ability to like communicate effectively, build relationships, and collaborate with others is becoming increasingly, valuable.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about how you connect with other humans.
Precisely. And those are skills that, take conscious effort to develop.
Hmm.
You need to be willing to, listen, empathize, and build rapport with others.
So to kind of sum it up, AI is changing the job landscape, but it's not all, bad news.
Right.
While some jobs are at risk, new opportunities are emerging, and the key to like staying relevant is to develop those human-centered skills that AI can't, replicate.
That's a great summary. It's not about, fearing the future, but embracing it with a sense of curiosity and adaptability.
This report we've been discussing keeps mentioning these human-centered jobs as the ones that'll thrive in the future.
Right.
But it doesn't really go into like detail about what exactly those jobs might look like.
It's true. The report focuses more on, the broad trends and skills rather than like specific job titles.
Which makes sense, I guess. It's hard to predict exactly what the job market will look like in the future, but I'm still curious about what those human-centered roles might entail.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
And one that's worth, exploring further. Perhaps we can shift gears a little bit and brainstorm some potential examples of those, future human-centered jobs.
I'm all for that. Let's dive into that in the next part of this deep dive. Okay, so we've been talking about this whole idea of, human-centered jobs being the future, but
Yeah.
what does that like actually look like? It's easy to say those are the jobs that will thrive,
Right.
but it's harder to like picture what those roles might actually be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a bit like trying to predict the future,
Right.
but based on the trends we've been discussing, I think we can start to at least piece together like a picture
Yep.
of what these human-centered roles might involve.
Okay, so let's break out the paintbrushes.
Yeah.
What are we seeing in this picture?
Well, one key element is complex problem solving.
Okay.
These are, situations where there isn't like a clear-cut answer,
Right.
where you need to analyze information, weigh different options, and make decisions based on, incomplete or ambiguous data.
So like detectives trying to solve a case,
Right.
or doctors diagnosing a patient,
Exactly.
or engineers designing a bridge.
Exactly. AI can assist in all of those fields,
Mm-hmm.
providing, data analysis and even, potential solutions.
Right.
But ultimately, it takes, human judgment, human experience, and intuition to make that final call.
Okay.
Those are areas where, AI still struggles to compete.
Okay. Complex problem solving. That makes sense. What else is prominent in this picture of human-centered jobs?
Creativity is another essential piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
We're talking about the ability to think outside the box,
Right.
to come up with, novel ideas, to innovate, to create something, truly original.
So like the classic creative roles like artists, writers, musicians, entrepreneurs,
Right.
those folks are still in high demand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just limited to those like traditional creative fields. As businesses adapt to, an increasingly AI-driven world,
Mhm.
that creativity will become even more valuable across all industries.
Yeah, I can see that being able to come up with like fresh solutions,
Right.
adapt to changing markets, and anticipate new trends. Those are all skills that require like a creative mindset.
Exactly. And it's not just about, generating ideas. It's
Yeah.
also about bringing those ideas to life. And that requires, skills like communication, collaboration, and the ability to navigate, complex systems,
Yeah.
all very, very human-centered abilities.
So it's not just about, being artistic. It's
Yeah.
about applying creative thinking to real world problems
That's
and
right.
finding innovative solutions. That makes sense. What about those soft skills we keep coming back to?
Yeah.
How do those fit into this picture of human-centered jobs?
those skills like, empathy, communication, and the ability to build relationships, they're becoming more valuable than ever.
Okay.
Think about, roles where human connection is at the heart of the work.
Right.
Teachers, therapists, social workers, nurses, even customer service representatives.
Yeah.
These are professions that require, a deep understanding of human emotions
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to, build trust and rapport.
And those are skills that AI simply can't replicate, at least not in any meaningful way. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
As AI takes on more of those technical tasks,
Mhm.
the human element becomes even more crucial in those roles where we're, interacting with other people.
That's a key insight.
Yeah.
In a world where, automation is becoming increasingly common,
Right.
the ability to connect with others on a human level
Ah.
will be a significant advantage.
So this picture of human-centered jobs is starting to come into focus.
Yeah.
We're seeing roles that require, you know, complex problem solving,
Mm,
creativity, empathy, and strong interpersonal skills.
right.
It's almost like AI is pushing us to become more human,
Yeah.
to focus on those qualities that make us unique.
That's a fascinating way to put it, and I
Mm.
think it's an important message to take away from this this discussion
Yeah.
as we navigate this rapidly changing world.
Right.
It's crucial to remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it
Right.
to shape its development and
Yeah.
to ensure that it serves humanity.
That's a powerful thought. And it leads me to one final question. If we accept that, AI is going to continue to transform the job market,
Right.
what advice would you give to someone who's feeling anxious about the future of work?
My advice would be to embrace the unknown.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to experiment, learn new skills,
Right.
and step outside your comfort zone.
Mhm.
The jobs of the future
Yeah.
may not even exist yet.
Right.
So the best way to prepare is to cultivate that mindset
Mhm.
of adaptability and continuous learning.
So be curious, be open to new experiences, and
Yeah.
don't be afraid to try things that might seem, a little daunting at first.
Exactly. And remember that this isn't just about, staying employable. It's about developing those human-centered skills that will enrich your life, both personally and professionally.
Well said. It seems like the key takeaway from this this deep dive is not to fear AI,
Mm,
but to see it as an opportunity to redefine what it means to be human in the workplace,
right.
to focus on those skills and qualities that make us unique,
Mhm.
and to use them to shape a future where both humans and AI can thrive.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
The future is full of possibilities, and it's up to us to create a future
Yeah.
that we can all be proud of.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this this final thought.
Right.
What are the human-centered skills you already possess?
Right.
And what steps can you take to further develop them? It's a journey worth embarking on.
Absolutely.
And as always, we're here to support you along the way. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.